Welcome on Joy News today. Now coming up, residents of Dalun in the northern region protest stalling of a major access route leading to their source of potable water, threatening they will be forced to block the only access route if the contractor fails to return to site. Minority in Parliament serves notice it will kick against the introduction of the new electronic transaction levy, as its leader says government is being opportunistic and exploitive. And Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Menu says he is unaware of when work will start on Agenda 111, specifically in the Dafiama Busie Isa constituency, after months of soft cutting. We have business, sports, and a lot more, all as part of this bulletin. Do stay with us. Let's start with our very first story now. Residents of Dalun in the Kumbungu district of the northern region have threatened to block the road leading to the Dalun water treatment plant if contractors working on the road do not return. They are also threatening to lock up the water treatment plant serving the entire northern regional capital and several other districts. They said they cultivated the large portion of vegetables and mangoes in the region, but these products were left to rot because vehicles hardly plied them. The
about 10-kilometer Dalong road has been stalled for the past 7 years after it was awarded on contract in 2016. The youth are angry because the contractor has moved all his equipment out of the site. The resident who staged a demonstration this morning in Dalong walked the 10-kilometer road blocking vehicular traffic. Women, children, and the elderly who were part of the demonstration demanded that the contractor return to site within the next 2 weeks or face their wrath. Speaking to Joy News, chairman of the Dalong Youth Association, Mahama Safiano, said commercial activities in the area alone contributes about 60% of the assembly's generated funds.
The water treatment plant, that water from Midday, lives in that area. They produce water to service better part of the northern region communities. We deserve more and we deserve better than this. We cannot be neglected. The bad road, the bad nature of the road is impeding our development. We just need the government to come to our aid. The contract has been awarded. We want the contractor to be truthful to us, the government to be truthful to us, because on several occasions, the contractor has told us he has been giving money to construct the road, but nothing has been done. And then the ruling government has told us that they have given the contract to construct the road, but we see nothing being done. So when the government and then the contractor to be truthful to us.
Another resident presented a young boy who he said was knocked down by a tipper truck who was avoiding a pothole.
And his leg got this way due to the bad nature of our road, because the mother sent him to buy something at the station. So when a tipper truck was trying to dodge a pothole just at the middle of the road, then unfortunately the tipper truck runs onto this guy. I was just there when.
Let's go to Parliament now, and the minority in Parliament says it will not cooperate with government and will kick against the introduction of the new electronic transaction levy. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of a post-budget workshop at Ho in the Volta region, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said government was being opportunistic and only seeking to exploit the COVID-19 pandemic, which contributed to a surge in digital transactions.
The government is seeking to introduce e-levy or e-transaction levy, call it a mobile phone tax or Momo tax. We stand united collectively against it, and we would not support government. We would not cooperate with government, because that will further deepen the suffering of the Ghanaian people. The introduction of that tax handle is simply opportunistic. The number of mobile subscribers and the use of digital platform globally grew up to 68 billion in 2020, and for our purposes the portfolio grew from 257 billion to 500 billion, largely because of COVID. So you don't have a lazy, convenient way of taxing the consequence of COVID. So people decided to use digital platform because of COVID. We needed to do social distancing. government is turning around to just take advantage of COVID to introduce what they call a Momo tax. Take for instance, if you chose to pay a medical bill to a doctor by Momo, it means that it will be taxed. There is the danger of you being taxed 7-10 times a day, depending upon how much transfer or remittance you do in a day. So the incidence of double taxation is very grave and it's unavoidable. So it means that if you transacted 100 businesses 100 times in a day on an electronic platform, you will pay that tax 100 times. What it means is that you are reintroducing a functionally cash economy against the development of a digital economy. And we don't find that acceptable, and we think that government is just taking advantage of COVID, and therefore the numbers going forward may not be as in COVID year in 2020, where everybody was compelled to do business on a digital platform. The Momo tax, as I've said, will be a disincentive to the growth and sustenance of a digital economy. For instance, we're encouraged to pay water and electricity bill via Momo. That was being done. Now you want to tax it. So it means that I should carry cash to ECG and carry cash to Ghana Water Company. Is that what you want? So that cashiers can go home with their cash money, and then you say you have difficulty tracing it. So it's opportunistic and defeatist. The tax handle is opportunistic and defeatist. Government is simply seeking to lazily hide behind the rise in digital transactions arising out of COVID to raise revenue. That is not done. Show me anywhere in the world where you've had an e-transaction levy.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government will find a way to win the cooperation of the minority on the matter. In an interview with Joy News on the sidelines of the ongoing Volta Fair, he said Ghana cannot continue to do things the same way.
So this historic 10 billion intervention that we have had, and finding ways for burden sharing. So we recognize the problems of youth unemployment, the problem of growth, the problem of debt, and we as a nation decide to burden share to break this intractable problem. So it's very exciting seeing the support that he has garnered and seeing some of the entrepreneurs here who are here. And it gives me hope that where we are going with the e-levy is the right way to do that.
It's interesting that you mentioned the e-levy. There are already concerns out there that
the e-levy
amounts to double taxation and inimical to entrepreneurship. That
well, if you look at your 2.2 million youth in 1960 to 10.8 million youth, it cannot be that we do things as we do them always. And I think we all need to stretch our minds as to what we want to curtail. The indignity of not having a job, I think, should really manage how the world economy is moving into more of an e-line economy. The old tax handles might not be different. And as you bring these things on, you tweak them with time. The clarity of understanding that we cannot continue to have this youth problem. We cannot continue to not have our roads built. We cannot continue to not look at our debt. I think it's in front of us. And usually a change, brings these things. But I think the change should be, how do we make this efficient and move forward? But in terms of everybody not liking taxes, always will be that. So we have, maybe a month of discussions of Parliament. But once the objective is clear, we'll get to some efficiency. And I really want the youth to go behind us to say that, let's talk for jobs.
You talked about discussions with Parliament. I've been speaking to the minority leader, and he describes it as opportunistic and defeatist, and says that the minority is not going to cooperate with when it comes to this particular e-levy. I don't know what your response is to this.
Well, Biden went through his 1.3 trillion. There were discussions, but in the end, where does Ghana, the Republic, want to go? And so we'll discuss But as long as we are clear on eliminating this unemployment benefit, I think we'll find a way to cooperate and build the nation and move forward. So it's not an unfamiliar position with opposition, but I'm sure we all have the good sense of one language, the Republic in hand, and we'll get there as one people.
So that was Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. But what does his wife, Angela Ofori-Atta, think about the controversial electronic transaction levy? Listen to what she told Joy News in a rare interview on governance issues at the Volta Fair in Ho.
Oh, I am so impressed. Of course, for me, the tie-dye excites me, the tie-dye clothes and the cloth. But then I'm really impressed with, the commercial farming, Ekumfi fruit and juice factories, there's a paint factory place, then there's education, the School of Allied Health Sciences, and just the tech bit of it excites me.
Your husband, Finance Minister, was in Parliament and he announced the electronic transaction tax.
Yes.
A lot of Ghanaians are saying that it amounts to double taxation. Many are not really in support of it. As the wife of the Finance Minister, what do you make of that?
I have to pay 1/3 or more of my salary as taxes every month.
Okay.
And I know that there are many people who are not paying taxes. And I know that they would like better roads. They would like, when they go to hospital, to get better care. They would like the NHIA to work so that they can present their cards and get medication. I know that they would like a good Ghana. There's no country that can develop without its citizens contributing. And there are too many people in Ghana not contributing. And this tax, if we all pay a little and we send money, I think when we send money to each other to pay for services that is taxed, pretty soon we will figure a way not to pay income tax.
Okay.
Pretty soon, because that's the way the world is going, we get taxed for the things that we use.
Okay.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, says the minority in Parliament will not support any move to tax mobile money transactions in the country. According to the legislator, the tax policy proposal is at best a taxation Ponzi scheme. Meanwhile, national spokesperson for the Economic Fighters League, Niayi Opare, believes the proposed e-levy tax is insensitive given the time it was proposed. Both of them spoke on the AM show with my colleague, Israel Lai.
We have said production or manufacturing is the basis of any economy, apart from agriculture. So you take the produce that you're producing from agriculture, there's raw materials, and then you add value to them. This is what will help in generating revenue internally. So any government that is really serious about transforming the life of the economy would actually pay more attention to production. But this presupposes that you have to pay attention to your power generation capacity. As it stands, Ghana is having quite a substantial amount of generation capacity for energy, but most of it is run on light crude oil, which is relatively expensive. So we have the generation capacity, but we're not firing on all cylinders.
I'm against the e-levy policy, which I would fight. I would fight it at a committee level and speak on the floor of the House against it, and I would fight against appropriation. My leadership has indicated that they would not support it. If that e-levy on mobile money transactions and on the face value of business transactions is not taken out of appropriations, me, Sam George, irrespective of whichever way my party leadership will want to go, will vote against the appropriations bill, because I will not approve appropriation that introduces an e-levy until that revenue line is taken out. I cannot support
whether
the
that
appropriation.
to make it
like
more
I said,
acceptable.
if the e-levy includes a taxation of any amount, even if it is 0.01 on the value of transaction, on every transaction, it's a different thing if we're talking about charges and other things. But if it is on the value of the transaction, I'm being very clear. If it is a charge, even if it's 0.01%, in addition, on the charge of the value, not on the service charge, but on the value of transaction, I would oppose the appropriations bill.
Let's talk health projects now. And despite government sought cutting for newly constructed district hospitals under Agenda 111, the health minister says he is unaware when real construction will commence in the Dafiama Busie Issa constituency. Answering questions in Parliament from the Dafiama Busie Issa MP, Dr. Sebastian Sandare, Kweku Agyemang-Manu said the contractors and consultants were mobilizing to move to site, noting he was unable to tell when real work would commence.
I rise to ask the Minister for Health when construction of the district hospital for Dafiama Busie Issa under the Agenda 111 will start.
Mr. Speaker, to herald the commencement of works on the Agenda 111 project, salt was cut on Tuesday, 17th August 2021 at the Ekrima Kwangma district of the Ashanti region to signal the beginning of these hospitals in all the beneficiary districts, including the Dafiama Busie Issa under the Agenda 111 project. Mr. Speaker, all preparatory works towards commencement of works have been completed. Currently, zonal consultants and contractors are finalizing mobilization activities to site for works to commence shortly. The exact date that will happen in Dafiama Busie Issa, Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I will not be able to give immediately.
When is the project expected to be completed?
Honorable Speaker, construction sites have already been selected. They were selected with the assistance of the district assembly. So they are now in the process of even preparation of sites for the projects. And that is why I'm saying that they are now mobilizing to sites, making the sites ready for works to begin. And the contractor can only do this with the consultant. The consultant only went there to inspect the site and assess its appropriateness for works to actually start. They have done a lot of work already, and I believe soon actual work of construction will commence. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, the Ghana Police Service says it has arrested 4 suspected robbers who have attacked and robbed their victims of their belongings in and around Weija last week, Thursday. The arrest of the suspect was made known in a statement released by the police this morning, signed by the Director General in charge of Public Affairs, ACP Kwesi Fori. The suspects were to be arraigned today. Let's get the full details of that statement now. And as you can see on your screen, it reads, police arrest 4 robbery suspects who operate within Weija and its environs. And the very first point, the police, during a special intelligence-led operation, have arrested 4 robbery suspects who broke into the residence of their victims at Ajasco Red Top, Kokrobite, and made away with their personal effects on Thursday, November 18, 2021. The suspects, Benjamin Otu, alias Dada Joe, Tony Mensah Yedu, alias Big Joe, Bismarck Asabre, alias Dagbano, and Nanayao Akon, reportedly broke into their victims' residence and forcibly made away with their 3 laptops, an iPhone 8 Plus, 3 Infinix smartphones, and Tecno Camon 7. Others were 1 Bluetooth speaker, an extension board, 3 phone chargers, 2 laptop chargers, together with an unspecified amount of money. It also talks about the fact that upon receipt of the robbery report, the Weija Police Command embarked on a special 8-hour covert operation which led to the arrest of Benjamin Otu, Tony Mensah Yedu, and Bismarck Asabre. And the suspect, Bismarck Asabre, later led the police to arrest suspect Nanayao Akon from his hideout in Labadi. A search retrieved 20 assorted phones, a taxi cab, 3 laptops, 1 motorbike, 1 locally manufactured pistol, a police vest, 1 gota, and 14 assorted wristwatches. All 4 suspects will be arraigned today. Meanwhile, efforts are underway to get other accomplices arrested to face criminal charges. It ends, the police administration highly commends all officers and men of the Wager Divisional Police Command and the team in particular for their hard work and efforts in arresting the 4 suspects. We want to reassure the public that we will continue to do whatever it takes to make our communities safe and peaceful. And that was the statement from the Ghana Police Service. Now, the level of indiscipline in our schools is growing by the day, and it is pervasive. From breaking common school rules, students are now involved in the use of hard drugs, pushing down school fence walls, and engaging in fights using knives and cutlasses, and vandalizing teachers' property, which now are common occurrences. Are we in the dilemma of sparing the rod and spoiling the child? These are words of the president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools. Now, Yakub bin Abubakar, who was speaking at their 59th annual conference, which ended last Friday at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. And key among the topics discussed at the conference was the issue of growing indiscipline in senior high schools. Correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The 59th annual conference of the Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, was under the theme Discipline and Child Rights in Our Senior High Schools, the Fate of the School Head. In attendance were headmasters of various senior high schools across the country, representatives of various teacher and education unions, and other stakeholders in education. Various speakers who touched on the theme of the conference were of the view that perhaps the withdrawal of corporal punishment in senior high schools needs to be reconsidered.
Today, the GES has banned caning and all forms of corporal punishment in our schools. The question is, what have they replaced it with? Today, non-performing students cannot be repeated or withdrawn from the schools. Students with bad and questionable characters who should be withdrawn to allow those who want to study in our schools remain in our schools.
Delivering his address, the president of the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, Alhaj Yakub bin Abubakar, said the level of indiscipline in senior high schools was getting to the point where school heads feel that the prohibition of corporal punishment emboldens students to misbehave.
From breaking common school rules, students are now involved in use of hard drugs, pushing down school fence walls, and engage in physical fight with implements like knives and cutlasses, inflicting serious cuts on themselves. Vandalizing teachers' properties like cars and farms are common occurrences. CHAS is not against the policy of prohibition of corporal punishment, but we also feel that this prohibition has emboldened the students to misbehave. Are we in the dilemma of spare the rod and spoil the child?
He also touched on issues of lack of funds for senior high schools.
It is well over 4 years that the recurrent rates were fixed for the running of schools. CHAS have made several efforts by preparing comprehensive notes on the recurrent rates and asked for an upward adjustment of the rates with proposed figures. Yet we have not generally received attention from the Ghana Education Service Management. What is even serious is the delays in the release of funds for recurrent expenditure. This has made the plight of day schools very serious, as they do not have any source to run their schools.
Delivering the keynote address at the conference, Vice Chancellor of the C.K. Tedam University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Professor Eric Magnus Wilmot, entreated the headmasters to find other ways of instilling discipline in students.
Establishing expectations, guidelines, and school or classroom rules for behavior in order to proactively prevent disruptions. So before the students embark on something that will disrupt the free flow of events in the school.
Uprooted 3 times already and now stuck between a marauding sea and a lagoon. That is the story of the villagers of Agua Keji. The community is one of the worst affected areas in the tidal wave disaster that displaced more than 3,000 people in the Keta area 2 weeks ago. The community of over 500 people is now a ghost town as many have fled to perch with friends and family elsewhere. My colleague Justice Beidou went to meet some of the last residents of Agua Keji forced by sea erosion to say goodbye to the land of their birth.
This is Yawo Agbemava's last day in the home she has lived for 45 years. In her lifetime, she has seen sea waves sweep through her village many times. But what she saw 2 weeks ago was different.
When I hear the sea waves, my heart beats faster. I become very afraid. I've not seen anything like this before. The sea used to be far away. Now it's with us.
Like Yao, nearly everyone from Agua Keji, her village, has left. What remains? Broken water pots, torn apart roofing sheets, and belongings that villagers left behind as they ran for their lives when the sea waves forced their doors open in the dead of the night.
If the sea is rougher, we just wake up and stay and sit down and be waiting for the day to come. Because if you sleep, you don't know that the water will come to the room.
With the climate change, you can see it's really affecting our community.
This is Fuvame. Some of the people who are just moving away from Agua Keji now used to live here. After years of sea erosion, everyone has left.
It was a big community, very big community. The people keep on moving backwards. Keep on moving backwards till the time they get close to the river. And there's no place for them to move, to step back anymore. So final decision was they have to move from this community to resettle at Agua Keji.
Yao hopes she can come back to Agua Keji one day.
I want to come back one day because this is where I belong. My grandparents lived here.
A sea defense project that could help protect her community has stalled for years. Sea levels are rising by the day. It is uncertain where the next move will be to. Justice Beidou, Joy News, Agua Keji.
Well, we stay in the Volta region. We take you now to the Volta Fair, where Mate Xavier Kofi of the Ho Technical University has been telling Maxwell more about the school's new e-dustbin, which works with a sensor and opens by itself when you get closer to it. MP for Ho West, Emmanuel Bedra, tells potential patrons there's a lot more the region has to offer and encouraged all to make a stop at the fair.
That the e-levy will not work well for us as a country. We just started with the electronic, transaction in the country. People are getting used to it. Now, if you levy us 1.75, on just Momo transaction, you are telling me that it's better I keep the money in my pocket and then use it or go and pay for it. Whilst we are looking for e-transaction, we are looking for opportunity where there will be cashless system, and you are imposing taxes on cashless system. It doesn't work anywhere in the world. So I as for us, the minority, we agree that we're not going to support that venture. We're not going to support that transaction at all. In fact, it's one of the things that we will oppose and make sure that it doesn't go through.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you, my brother.
Great.
Grateful.
So you just heard Emmanuel Bedra. He is the Member of Parliament for Ho West. He's also the chairman for the Volta caucus. So like I mentioned, it's not just businesses we're talking about. We're talking about science and technology. We're talking IT. We're talking about innovation. And I'm taking taking you to one of the places here. So this is the whole technical university stand, and they have something amazing here. Sir, you're welcome to join us.
Thank you.
Great. Can you tell us about this? Earlier you were telling me that students were the one who put this together. Can you tell me more about it? What exactly is it? What does it do? And what processes do they go through to come up with this?
Please, this one is the waste management system, and it uses ultrasonic sound waves to operate. For instance, when you come closer to the dustbin, it senses you and it will open. So when it opens, you put in your dustbin, your waste products. Okay. After some time, it closes again. So when the dustbin is full, the red light here will come on. So when it's on, it means that anyone that comes closer to the dustbin, it will never open again. Okay. And this one is the...
So essentially what it means, what we are trying to prevent is from people picking up, people touching the dustbin, right?
Yes.
So the sensor will sense you and then it opens by itself?
Yes, please.
And the students did this?
Yes. Wow. In Whole Technical University.
Okay.
So we are actually advertising this thing so that you let your words come to our school. So we want people to see or to know what we are capable of doing in Whole Technical University. Okay. And moreover to this one is the home automation of lighting system using your Bluetooth. Okay. This one, for instance, the disabled in our various homes. Since they are not able to work, and the person can be on his or her bed and control the lighting system by using his or her phone. For instance, let me do the demonstration for you to see.
Okay. So you're going to do the demonstration for us?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this one, can I call it an e-dustbin?
Yeah.
I can call it an e-dustbin?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. So what demonstration are you doing right now?
I'm going to control the light here.
Okay.
So the person, for instance, you can see.
So what's happening right now?
Right now I'm trying to control the light.
Okay. So you're trying to control the light on what?
By using the phone.
Okay. And what is going to happen to this?
When you control the light, we have a light, let's say in your outside light, you can name it to be light 1. Your room light, you can do it light 2, then the rest. So this one, when you use your phone, I want to do the demonstration.
Okay.
Well, from Ho, we take a break for business. Up next.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. A law practitioner is calling for effective policies to regulate the tax system in the informal sector. According to Clara Bieri-Kasoti, most micro, small and medium-scale businesses are overtaxed, hence their non-compliance. She, however, says majority of the players in the informal sector do not have a problem parting with money, but the lack of understanding of how the tax system operates. She was speaking at the launch of a research paper by the Ghana Center for Democratic Development.
A digital suite, which combines the use of mobile application or USSD style 414 hash platform and internet banking services, will ensure that all banking services.
The Ghana Center for Democratic Development, in collaboration with the GIG, has unveiled findings from a survey of micro, small and medium enterprises to understand and document the experiences of MSMEs in accessing justice and public services. Speaking at the launch law lecture, Clara Kasoti urged government to implement policies to regulate the tax system in the informal sector.
I always make the joke in my tax class that Ghanaians don't seem to have a problem paying taxes. If you look at the culture, they sow seed all the time. They give first collection, they give second collection. So if you look, Ghanaians don't seem to have a problem parting with money. So that if they understood the tax structure well and believed that it was fair, I believe that they would be good corporate citizens. I think we all agree that we need to tailor the policies. One, of course, the size of the businesses, and then certainly, as is evident from the findings, to the gender. It means that women-owned businesses are more in need of information and training on the business processes, and probably more encouragement and education on the dangers of entrusting the paperwork to someone else or not following up on the paperwork.
The research paper, dubbed Access to Justice and Public Services, Experiences of MSMEs in Ghana, was authored by Mavis Zupek-Domi and Daniel Ama-Ato. According to Mavis, MSMEs in Ghana do not grow, hence the need for the findings to be taken seriously.
These findings are very telling and as well as timely because of the budget and reading the budget as well as the after policy guide, trade guide. So it's timely for policymakers as well as local assemblies to look into. And the worrying part of it is the fact that MSMEs are not growing. So that means we have to look into that. And when you look at some of their challenges, they mentioned capital as well. When you look at what do they want government to do, they are very much particular about reduction in interest on loans and also capacity building around management of businesses and financial management. So that tells you that easily tells you why MSMEs are not growing, and to be good to look into this.
Now, the Multimedia Group Limited has received a special recognition for its role in harnessing good corporate governance practices in the country. The company was honored for its immense contribution in promoting the culture of good corporate governance within the media space. Receiving the award on behalf of the company, Chief Human Resources Officer Samuel Nana Elegba told Joy Business the success chalked is a testament of the group's resolve to remain independent, fearless and credible. Bismarck Ausa has more.
The Multimedia Group Limited was one of the top 5 corporate entities honored at the 4th edition of the Institute of Directors Ghana Corporate Governance Excellence Awards held in Accra. Speaking to Joy Business at the ceremony, Chief HR of the group, Samuel Nana Elegba, attributed the success chalked to the media organization's documentaries.
One of the things that the Multimedia Group is renowned for is the quality of our documentaries. And we've had quite a number of documentaries which have exposed the rot in society, and not only within government circles or if you look at our documentaries, it cuts across every sphere and every sector of society. And all these documentaries have aimed at promoting good governance. So it is not a surprise that we have earned this recognition for our immense contributions.
Nana Elegba added that the Multimedia Group will continue to remain independent, fearless and credible media entity.
What this award does is to tell us that we are on track, we are moving in the right direction, so we will continue to remain independent in our operations, in whatever we do. We'll continue to remain fearless, exposing the rot in society. We'll continue to remain credible to promote good governance. It means that we are doing something very good, so it will spare us on.
And the small business news coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Up next, sports.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the sports segment with me, Ray Kuwampofo. Now, Joy Sports Checks reveal Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta aired while delivering his budget statement in Parliament on Wednesday. Point 976 of his presentation indicated that some stadia across the country had been renovated. It was indicated that the Sipon Stadium in particular is 90% complete in terms of renovations. But Joy Sports Checks prove otherwise. My colleague George Adu Jr. was at the Sipon Stadium and put together this report.
Member of Parliament for the Sikado Keteng constituency, Honorable Joe Gatti, who oversees the Sipon Stadium, has issued a press statement in reaction to the statement by the Minister of Finance when he read out the budget on the floor of Parliament on Wednesday, 17th November 2021. In that budget, the Minister of Finance did indicate that the Sipon Stadium, in terms of its renovation works, is up to 90% complete. That had caused a lot of residents to come out and agitate because they did not think this edifice was up to 90%. In that press statement released by Honorable Joe Gatti, he had asked for a quick review of the statements that were put out, because upon his checks, this is not 90%. In the press statement released by the Member of Parliament for Esikado Keteng constituency, Honorable Jogate, addressed to the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports, he wrote, and I quote, "I write with regard to the request for information on the rehabilitation of the Sipon Stadium. The Finance Minister, in the budget statement delivered on Wednesday, 17 November 2021, stated that the rehabilitation works at the Sipon Stadium is 90% complete. My checks reveal otherwise. As Member of Parliament for the area, I would be grateful if you could furnish me with an update of the said project, which is located in my constituency. Furthermore, if the information given is inaccurate, please furnish the Finance Minister with the accurate information to enable him advise himself accordingly. The project is of great interest to me and my constituents." That letter was signed by the Honorable Jogate. It will be recalled that the then Sports Minister, Isaac Isiama, led a team of officials from his ministry in May of 2020, the National Sports Authority and the Western Regional Coordinating Council, to inspect the progress on rehabilitation works at the Sipon Stadium. He told the reporters at a media briefing that the stadium renovation works will be executed in 2 phases. The initial phase will cost about 18 million Ghana cedis and will cover the replacement of existing defective roofing sheets, sandblasting corroded roofing steel, and the application of heavy-duty coating system to guard against further deterioration of the metal structure from the Midwest to the South Stand. Phase 2 of the Sipon project, according to Isaac Isiama in 2020, will cover the renovation of spectator seats and electrical installations, as well as completion of the hotel or hostel facilities and other works. Since done, the contractor in charge of this project are yet to speak. We expect a press statement from the Ministry of Youth and Sports and subsequent communication from the National Sports Authority on the matter. Now, even if the first phase of renovation was just about the roofing sheets, was just about the sandblasting, it doesn't appear from our checks that the first phase of renovation is up to 90%. And that's why the residents are not too excited about this.
Well, on Wednesday when I heard it, I was very, very sad, because if you look at the stadium, I was here last 2 months, and coming here again on Wednesday after the announcement that it was 90% done, I became really frustrated. And my frustration was with the fact that most of the work has not been done. And just as we've been hearing and we've been seeing from pictures and videos, it shows you that a lot of work is still yet to be done. And 90% is just not the evaluation for the amount of work that is done. It should be around 20%.
Very frustrated, judging from the background that Minister of Finance will tell you that it is 90% completed, whilst in reality when you come here, the work that needs to be done is not like that. You see, if you come here and you look at the edifice, now they said they are done with the sandblasting and they are doing the painting. And even the painting alone, you could see just one, even if it's not even 1/3, a small portion being done.
My checks from the Sports Ministry and the National Sports Authority, that's really indicate that the Minister of Finance did slip in saying the renovation works at the Sipon Stadium was 90% complete. He was actually supposed to say that the first phase of the renovation work at the Sipon Stadium was 90% complete. Either way, from the evidence of what we have seen, it comes nowhere close, and there's certainly a lot of work to be done to make sure that this edifice was put up here in 2007, commissioned and used for the Africa Cup of Nations in 2008, really serves its full purpose for the people of Esikado Keteng. George Addo Jr. from the Sipon Stadium.
And right before we go, let's get the latest from Major Online /sports, which provides you with in-depth analysis of current trends in the world of sport. And we have a feature on the rise of Felix Afenajan, who has been labelled as Moreno's darling boy. He scored a brace yesterday against Genoa, becoming the first player who was born after 2003 to score in the Serie A. And we have more Ghana Premier League stories for you as well as the season unfolds. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports here. World News is up next.
And you know, when you see that we're talking national science and a math quiz, the Ashanti region has booked 3 slots and has a very good chance in the final of the competition. Nanaya Ojima joins me live now to give us details about what the inroads the Ashanti region has been making thus far. Nanaya, so tell us about the teams from the Ashanti region that have actually made it into the final stage and what the expectations are among them.
So ahead of the semi-final contest, which is supposed to be taking place tomorrow, a school in the Ashanti region, which we are yet to know, is going into the finals. And why we are saying this is that 3 Ashanti region schools have been are in one contest that they'll be facing each other in the semi-finals. Hence, already even before the semi-final stage the contest is done, one of these schools will have to win and go into the finals of the competition. Now, KNUST, SHS, Prempeh College, and Opokwari School are the 3 schools in the Ashanti region who are supposed to face each other in the semi-finals of the contest. Now, KNUST Senior High School, this is the second time they will be in the semi-finals of the competition, and if they are able to make it through in this particular contest, it means they are in the finals for the first time, and they are very, very confident about their chances of reaching the final. It has been an impressive run for the hosts, that's the turf owners of KNUST in KNUST Senior High School. Also, Prempeh College, this is if they are able to go into the final and win it, it will be the 5th time Prempeh College will be winning the National Science and Maths Quiz. Their fans or supporters who often flood the venue for the National Science and Maths Quiz are optimistic of the chances of their team. Also, Opokwari School are hoping to pick it for the 3rd time. So already, if these schools should meet in the semi-finals, it means that Ashanti has a place in the finals.
Thank you very much, Nanaya Ojima, for bringing us the latest on that. Of course, the 2021 National Science and Math Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with APSA. The broadcast of the National Science and Math Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, our milk high in protein and vitamins, Papa's Pizza, Taste It, Love It, Tampico, Simply Irresistible, DBS Industries Limited, we truly are your roofing experts, Kings Group Limited, Set a Standard New Lesson, Love Learning, Ace Medical Insurance, the new face of health financing, Dole Yogurt, More, I Need More, and Smart App, Child Security, Parents Convenience. Thank you for staying. This is how we draw the curtains on Joy News today. But we leave you with some trending stories on myjoyonline.com that you can check out. My name is Benjamin Akaka.